Thank you for tuning in to Exeter TV. Exeter TV is the town's public and government access channels, available on Comcast Channels 6 and 22. Channel 6 is your channel. If you have an idea for a program, want to host your own talk show, or submit a film, we're here to get your content on television. On Channel 22, we bring you live and replay coverage of government meetings and other town updates. A third channel, Blue Hawk Media, is operated by SAU 16 and can be found on Channel 8, with all your school sports, events, and meetings. You can watch Exeter TV online at exeternh.tv, Apple TV, and on Roku. Find us on social media for extra content. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell to get notified about live streams and new content. Tune in to our platforms every other Friday to watch the Exeter Biweekly Report, with recaps of recent events, updates from town departments, and messages from nonprofits in your area. If you head to our website, exeternh.tv, we invite you to sign up to our newsletter to receive monthly updates about new content, upcoming meetings, and more. We'd like to thank you for taking the time to watch Exeter TV and hope that you tune in to our other content as well.
the Sustainability Advisory Committee. We'll call it to order. I will make a motion to have Julie and Sarah join us as voting members this evening to fill 2 spots at empty chairs. Can I get a second? Or can I? Yeah, I'll make that motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
All right, great. All in favor say aye.
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 Great. Why don't you guys come over and join us at the table?
I didn't know that was the alternate table.
I didn't realize that either.
It needs a table cover.
Yes, we need another one.
Make a motion to order a table cover for the. Just kidding. So what's the protocol of someone that's on the committee that it shows up after they've seated? They whatever,
Yeah.
roll with it? Yeah.
Are we voting on anything? Well, maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah. You can sort that out at that point.
Okay, sounds great. All right, we've called to order. I want to welcome Sarah Koff to joining us as an alternate member here. First of all, a big hearty welcome. Really enthused because this time last year we were strategizing how we would keep this committee together, and really so pleased that everybody stepped up and joined with all the new members that we have. My cup and the cup of the committee runneth over here. It's fantastic. So welcome.
Thank you.
Let's look at any public comments. I don't see any public here, but we do have some correspondence that came in. And tying off with something I'm going to put up in other business, I'm going to read this out loud instead of making copies. So this came from Karishma Manzur, sent us an email. And it says, hello, SAC members. As the New Hampshire Constitution does not have language guaranteeing a clean and healthy environment, Representative Nicholas Germana has introduced a House resolution proclaiming the rights to clean air, water, and a healthy environment. To educate Exeter residents about the resolution and support it in writing or in public testimony, and to help people understand that we have to actively lobby our elected officials, would you advise a warrant article in the March town election? Draft text for the warrant article is as follows, quote, people, plants, and animals deserve clean air, pure water, and a healthy environment. The voters of the town of Exeter demand that our governor, senators, representatives, and other elected officials conserve and maintain New Hampshire's public natural resources for the benefit of this and future generations. I look forward to your comments and response. So, I don't know what precedent there is for warrant articles supporting pieces of statewide legislation.
There is precedent for it.
Excellent.
So it's really up to this. In my judgment, it's up to the Sustainability Advisory Committee as to whether you want to advise Karishma to put a citizen's petition together. What's the deadline for that? I think it's short.
Pretty close, I
Yeah.
think. Yeah, like January 20th or something, I think.
I should have that date, but I don't. And if you want to advise her, yes, there is a tradition of that. If you prefer not to, the committee can decline. And you can also decide that you want to help her with that. But there is, I'm trying to think of an example. There was a citizen's petition for, let me think about what the issue was, but there is precedent.
Okay,
for it.
great. Fantastic. Hello, Nina. Come, join. Okay, that's fantastic. Want to put this up for discussion. First of all, we're thrilled that someone took the time to recognize that there's legislation that's going to be put before, put up in the State House, and to seek support for that. But yeah, I'll open the table for discussion on what your thoughts are on this and whether the committee should or would like to write in support of that. Go once.
I guess one avenue would be to invite this person to come and tell us why and tell us what the RSA is and what's behind the legislation. Just for completeness sake, to
Yeah.
sort of have us learn about it and maybe ask questions. That would be one avenue of approach.
That's true, yeah. I think one of the challenges with that will be, I'm confident, although I don't know the date in January that citizen petition deadline is to get something on the warrant. I'm confident it's in, you know already?
I do. It's the second Tuesday of January, which is the 14th.
Okay.
So it's this
Next
coming
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe one thing, I mean, because I too, I mean, in general, I like the language and the thought of it, but I would also want to read a little bit more about what's being put forward. We certainly, as a committee, could, arm her with a letter to support the rep and things like that outside of the warrant to just bring to the State House, which would certainly speak for the voice of the town. We could also write a recommendation letter to the Select Board to do the same, that we support. We've read this. After we read it, if we're on board next meeting to do that, and give us a chance to learn a little bit more. Who else has some thoughts on that?
I mean, my advice when people ask me as a fellow citizen and as a select board member whether they should do a citizen's petition, my advice is always you are entirely within your rights to do that under our system of government.
Yeah.
Citizens petitions are very common. They're not extraordinary, and it's a great way to gauge the support that the town has for an issue. And there is precedent for legislation up in Concord being commented on by town meetings.
Great.
Again, I can't think of the specific issues, but it has happened in the past. So I would say to Karishma, by all means, have at it. And if you do put it on the ballot, this is definitely something that you would love to talk to her about at our next meeting, to educate the committee as well as the voters of the town.
Okay, so I think it's, I love that input. And so it really be more just a question of steps and timing. So what maybe I'll ask you guys to consider, let me figure out what a motion would be for this, is to, upon learning more, because what we certainly could do is, after we adjourn from this meeting and correspond with Karishma on this, learn all that she knows. I can share that outward to y'all and get your individual feedback after that.
Yeah, I don't think it really needs a motion at this point.
Okay.
You encourage her to pursue this.
Okay.
If she feels so inclined.
Okay.
And you might be in support of it once you hear more from her directly.
Okay.
At our next meeting.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Because our next meeting might still be before.
Probably right after deliberative session.
It is after. Okay.
But that's.
Okay, still fine.
There's still a month before the voting.
Yeah.
More than a month before we vote. So
Okay. Cool.
the timing on that would be good.
Okay.
So how will we reach out to her? Just,
I've got her email right here. So-
I would volunteer
Would you?
to do that.
Okay. Terrific.
Because I was just thinking the main thing is maybe she doesn't know that the citizen's petition has to be on such a quick time frame.
Yep.
So it seems like if we could let her know, like,
I'm going to pass that to you.
immediately, that
I-
that's a piece.
And I just ask that you copy me on it. That'd be great.
Okay,
And probably Kristen as well.
Yes,
Yep.
please.
yeah. Because maybe she knows that already. It doesn't, I mean, we don't really know.
I think she does. I think she's pretty well versed.
Okay,
But it's good to give her a heads up that it's this coming Tuesday.
so let her know about the timing of that if she doesn't, and then invite her to come to our next.
Encourage her to do a citizen's petition to get it on the warrant. I think it's 100 signatures, something like that.
The bar is low.
The bar's
Yeah.
pretty low.
Okay.
And to check with the town clerk to get the paperwork and the form and all that.
28.
25
and-
signatures.
25
So
signatures.
it's a really low bar.
Great.
You can do
Wow.
that in an hour.
I'm surprised we don't get more than, like,
Just stand downtown, you can get 25 signatures for anything.
Exactly. Great.
and then,
and
can I
then-
say,
But we'd love to learn more about
we need to learn
more about
so
the
come to
language
our
for
next-
the proposed bill.
Yep.
And we, upon learning more and digging into it, we could see ourselves supporting it if
Yep.
we're aligned. So that'd be great.
Okay,
I don't think we have any other public comment. So our next item, super exciting, actually. It sounds weird to get excited about stuff like this, but it was awesome. Was our Styrofoam Drive event that we had this past Saturday at Public Works. And boy, I thought I set a realistic bar for what I thought turnout would be. I set a low bar of 5, and I thought 5 cars, 5 visitors, 5 residents, and a high bar of 10, and that was going to be a success for me because it meant that someone saw something and cared enough about it. And Kristen, was it 62 or 61? Something like that.
62 cars.
62 cars.
Yeah.
We filled 11 or 12 bags, and I don't know how to describe these things. They're super sacks, which I guess are originally meant for fertilizer. They're almost like those waste management Bagster bags, but they're just, instead of being long, they're tall. And we were smashing up styrofoam and getting it all compacted down, and plenty of great volunteers out there. Keith, the former owner of Yeti, volunteered. He drove a truck up and back to Guilford with Kristen and I, and really impressed. When asked, I think we did a pretty diligent job of just asking, where did you hear about us? How'd you learn about it? The sign move on Portsmouth Ave, those caution signs or heads up public works signs, easily half the people saw that. And then Facebook, right? One forum or another. So it's working. And, you know, I think some of my takeaways, and I can't wait to hear everybody else's input on this, was a lot of people asked, how often will you do this? Are you going to do this again soon? And when pressed a little bit, I think there's, you know, with things like Hazardous Waste Day or Electronics Recycling Day, well, certainly stuff accumulates a lot more than once a year, right? And so you're making these little stashes in your house, and how many little stashes can we possibly manage? And the stuff comes frequently enough. So, you know, I'm certainly of the mind that, you know, we want to come up with a little more frequent cadence to that, especially if we really want to build the habit, right? We want to train people up to save this stuff aside and get in the routine of doing it to hopefully fulfill future objectives. But for those who attended or didn't attend, what have you heard? What was your feedback on it?
That's a substantial amount of people.
It was.
That's awesome. I actually saw the sign myself and was really happy to see it up there. I was like, oh, that's awesome, you know? And, you know, in terms of keeping track of those numbers, I can only imagine that would have a further impact on the momentum to secure a facility of our own in town. So just really impressed to hear how many people showed up. That's really cool.
Yeah, and it wasn't really it wasn't a horrible day, but it wasn't a nice day to hang out outside either. So the people took the impetus to like load their car, get out there and stuff. It was great. So
that's awesome.
Who else?
The stuff that arrived was clean, and people frequently had the little printout of the instructions, like no packing peanuts, no food, dirty food stuff. We didn't find any of that.
Honestly, no.
Right. So it was really quite remarkable.
It was.
Yeah.
Right when we said goodbye to everybody, this woman, lovely, she was great. She had a bunch of good stuff for us too, but she rolled up and we just closed the garage doors up. She opened her trunk and packing peanuts went everywhere. So Chris and I are running around grabbing as many as we could. It was like a comedy routine. It was fantastic, but she was very understanding and stuff like that. So it was pretty funny. But
that's all she had?
No, she had some other good number 6 to recycle, but it was pretty funny.
But also the thing about it was just 2 hours.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
62 cars in 2 hours.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's a car every 2 minutes.
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting the number of people in town who order meat in styrofoam
The Omaha
packaging.
steak.
Yes.
Omaha Steak's
A
number
lot
one
of-
packaging item.
The coolers, and they're big coolers too. And as kind of a side note, I was talking to my dad about this, and he lives at an assisted living place here in town. He gets his insulin once a month, every other month, in a little styrofoam thing. There's no recycling that goes on there. So I have ideas about things like that where you have a regular accumulation of something. You know, you got to get creative and figure out how to keep track of it and how to get it to the styrofoam recycling. But it's once you start thinking about it, it's kind of exciting because I think there are things like that, medicines that people get regularly. And he said, no, we just, put it out in the trash.
I'll make this pledge for the next meeting. So if you visit Canada and you're kind of a weird junkie like me, there's a nationwide chain up there called Canadian Tire. Canadian Tire is the business. It started off as the name implies, a tire store, an automotive repair store, but it's like an everything store. We just bought some hockey skates there while we were up last month. You get it all at Canadian Tire. But in Canadian Tire, the Igloo Cooler brand sells cardboard Kraton coolers instead of disposable styrofoam ones. They have compostable coolers. I'll bring one next time because I'd like to push these backwards up the stream to all these Omaha steaks and all these, and just say,
Exactly.
hey, you're a little voice here from Exeter, but here, these things exist instead of poisoning our community with what you're sending, Anyway, and also visit Canadian Tire next time you go to Canada.
I did make a report on our styrofoam recycling efforts last Saturday to the select board on Monday. And,
Great.
across the board, they were very excited about it. Kristen had given me the stats, thank you, and I reported on it. And I think it actually moved the select board to be even more enthusiastic about the potential for a warrant article where we would, partially fund, along with grants, styrofoam recycling at the transfer stations.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
One of the exciting parts, too, was we did get a chance to snoop around the Guilford facility a little bit while we were there, because they were really gracious. They took us right in, and they had somebody else had unannounced dropped off a bunch of stuff as well. But I got to see the output, what the condensed foam looks like, and the machine, and how they're managing it. And we're going to get a tour up there, but it's pretty cool. I like stuff like that, but it's pretty cool. And they palletize it, wrap it up, and ship it out. It's amazing. So,
the other piece of information, there was one gentleman who showed up who had actually considered buying a styrofoam recycling plant as a private business, and he said, I just couldn't be sure that the scale would be right, so I didn't go ahead and do it. He said, but I'm so excited the town is thinking about doing this. So,
that's awesome.
yeah.
Wow.
That was another anecdote that I wanted to share.
Huh.
Yeah, I was so impressed with how many people were excited to be there and so you're going to do this quarterly, right? Expecting and wanting to continue to do it.
Yeah. It leads to a lot of thought and discussion. I mean, obviously, there's a lot that goes into setting up a collection that's offsite of a thing, and when we did drive through what is really Guilford's regular solid waste facility, and pretty organized and really looked pretty new, and it makes me think about our transfer station and some of the warrant opportunities that are there and things like that, and I just see opportunity. That's all I see is so it doesn't have to be a special day on your calendar and you're giving up a soccer game to go do this or whatever. That it's just part of your routine, hopefully in the future. So.
Yeah.
How is coordinating the vehicle, the actual truck, to bring the styrofoam to Guilford?
How was it?
In terms of ease, was there a specific person that you just knew would be willing to be a part of it, or?
I'll let Kristen answer a little bit as well. I mean, we were fortunate that DPW was a great partner and offered up both manpower and a vehicle.
Oh, fabulous.
And then volunteer work from Keith Whitehouse and the former Yeti owner. We had the right amount that we didn't need to end up exercising the DPW truck in person.
Okay.
And Keith was happy to volunteer at the time. I don't know what legs that has, you can only go to the well so many times for that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So part of the long-term plan would have to be something more permanent, more structured, for sure.
Understood.
Yeah.
I just had a few things to share too.
Yeah.
One, the metrics that I shared with the folks who came out on that day, as well as Dan. But so just to build some context around it, those super sacks are basically like a giant washing machine, like a front loader washing machine, but taller, right? And so they hold a substantial amount of styrofoam. They're the equivalent of a cubic yard, if you have that visual in your head. So I tried to gauge how many blue bags that would be. And granted, this is very conservative because we had 62 cars. People aren't going to visit their neighbor and share a blue bag when they dispose of it. But just assuming that it fit perfectly, that's 67 of the large 33-gallon blue bags. That's a huge expense to residents and a huge savings. Like, imagine if you saw 67 of those bags sitting out there. And I would wager a guess that it would be much more than that.
Yeah.
And then I also wanted to share that since the event, both when I got in on Monday, so they accumulated over the weekend and they have continued this week, I've had 11 either phone calls or emails of people wanting to know, when is it happening again? I missed it. I stocked it up and spaced it that day. Or, I heard about this and I really want to, know when the next date is. So there's huge desire for that.
Yeah.
Having said that, we pretty much were close to capacity with the vehicle that we had.
Yeah.
So just going forward, I think the wins there are the sign on Portsmouth Ave. That was a huge thing.
Yeah.
Getting the word out through social media in the, as you said, the community forum. A lot of people mentioned that specifically. Having a space similar to the warehouse at Public Works, because when you break up the styrofoam, it releases all these little styrofoam snowballs, and so we were lucky enough that we could close the garage doors, and Keith used a leaf blower, and Public Works had a shop vac, so it really wasn't too messy.
No, it's pretty.
But it could have been a mess if we were outside for that. And so those are kind of the thoughts that I had in terms of moving forward. I think there's strong desire for it, and I think if people had fixed dates where, if it was quarterly, we would dramatically increase the amount of material that we would receive. I think dramatically, because think about it, we really didn't announce this and set the date until the last SAC meeting. So people didn't have a whole lot of notice that this was going on.
Agreed.
So just, I guess, some thoughts moving forward, but I think there's a lot of potential here, and it was amazing, as you said, Jackie, the happiness that people had. People really feel burdened by this stuff, and using up blue bags for it, and not having a place for it, and so I think it's great that Guilford offers this.
Yeah, agreed, and keeping an eye out while we were there too. I kind of had my holiday goggles on, trying to see is there a lot of packaging and stuff. And frankly, I didn't really get that sense that there were a lot of Christmas presents that got unwrapped and stuff. There was a lot of Omaha steak boxes, and somebody had redone a kitchen, and all that sort of stuff. So it does that. What that does to me is fortify what you're saying, that we're just going to see that steady drumbeat of stuff. And despite our best efforts in our house to never buy anything, I've even had just 2 meat trays show up this week that were number 6. You can't help it, right? It's just coming into the house. So, I will definitely, Solid Waste Subcommittee will work with you to put together a proposal for a set of additional dates, and the sooner we lock those in. And I guess I'd say, sitting on that subcommittee, I think I see this as like the next step of many, because there's a longer road to march down here. But if we just work on the fact that we're trying to form good habits here with the town and save our neighbors blue bag money and all those sorts of things, I think there's short-term wins and long-term wins here. So yeah.
The gentleman that was there from Public Works, Wayne?
Wayne, yeah.
What is his last name? Do we know his last name? Yeah.
I'll get it
it
for you.
slipped out of my brain, but he was such a big help.
Amazing.
And an amazing host.
Yeah, never said no. Just came up with solutions like that.
So
Yep.
thank you, Wayne.
Yeah, and agreed. And
And
thanks to everybody who came out, yeah.
Yeah, Kirk, just to add to that, Kirk Scammon, met with me repeatedly. We walked through the site and logistics and
And
all
he
of that.
stopped by that
So-
morning.
And
Yeah.
he did come by as well to make sure it was flowing great. I think that site worked really well
Yeah.
in terms of traffic flow and the space, and could accommodate more cars if
For sure.
we had them.
Yep.
Kristen, did you say the bin, the collection bin, that was the equivalent of 67 blue bags, one bin?
No.
Oh.
So we collected 11 of those super sacks.
And that was the equivalent of 67, okay.
Yeah,
That might be a good
67.
metric to put on future material to get more interest for people to come like, hey, here's the metrics of, what you're
Right.
saving
Right.
for your trash
Yeah.
and stuff.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that was going to be my question. We have some information about the results. Is there thought or plans to use some of the social media channels and other communication channels to talk about what we think was a success?
For sure.
And
Yeah,
is that-
absolutely.
Yeah, so, okay.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think both on the town side and the community support side, for sure, it's critical. And the other thing I'm thinking too, and I'm not well enough informed to know whether the select board has already went through the budget and
We're in the process of finalizing the budget. Next meeting will be the last meeting where we discuss it, so that's the 13th. And then on the 21st, we actually do our public hearing
Okay.
for the budget and the warrant.
great,
And as of right now, I think it's going to be on the warrant.
great.
I've seen no move to say, no, let's not put that on there. The great thing that the Budget Recommendation Committee did was they made it conditional on getting the grant.
Right.
So instead of an 80,000 ask, it's a 30,000 ask with a potential of a $50,000 grant.
Correct.
Roughly. So we would move forward if we got the grant and if the town voted yes to the 30,000.
Great.
That's kind of the way it's framed up right now.
Okay.
If that changes, I'll let you know.
Okay. Oh, so what I'd like to do, maybe, Kristen, is to make sure that we, memorialize the metrics, the comments, the feedback, so we can both be at the SB meeting with public comment and be prepared to speak at the deliberative session as well with this data. That'd be great.
Great, that
Yeah.
sounds good. I had done a fact sheet for the Budget Recommendations Committee, and so my thought was to sort of, the backside of it was tailored toward questions they had, but to kind of create a similar thing, both for the Select Board public hearing as well as town meeting, and I am preparing a slideshow, I think, for the 21st.
Excellent. Cool.
As long as they can accommodate a
And
presentation.
then you can use that again
Right.
on February
On
1st at
deliberative
deliberative
session.
session.
Yep.
so.
Super cool. I'll share some of the photos I took of their inner workings at Guilford.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Cool.
I would love pictures from the event. Some folks gave me some, but I would love some more. And I do have a drafted social media post, but I was kind of hoping we could like jump on board and nail a date down, but that is a little bit too early because I feel like there's so much desire out there.
Agreed. Any other comments on the styrofoam topic? Cool. Well, second meeting in a row, I skipped right over approving last meeting's minutes. So if you'll permit me, could we just go back and y'all should have received copy of the last meeting's minutes. Are there any corrections or comments or thoughts to share on that? Can I get a motion to approve then? Great, thank you, Nina. And can I get a second for approval of last meeting's minutes? Jim, all right, thank you. All in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Great, minutes are approved. Thank you for letting me circle back. That actually leads nicely into, from the styrofoam to the update on sustainability-related budget items and deliberative session talking points. We're halfway in, Kristen, on that. I guess we should go to if we have any updates on the EV charging station.
So similar to the styrofoam densifying unit, the Budget Recommendations Committee voted in support of a public EV charger charging station. This would be in the Water Street parking lot, the parking lot behind us, contingent on the town receiving a charging fueling infrastructure grant. And that grant is an 80-20 grant, meaning, and it's not us coming up with the 80%, it's us coming up with the 20%, which we don't know the status of the grant opportunity at this point. We thought we would know before the end of December, but just for a little bit of background there, the state of New Hampshire applied for a federal grant to bring a large pocket of money to the state of New Hampshire that then they would re-grant to communities. They used our project as an example in their federal grant application, so they're aware of it, that, it's been vetted through their qualification system. And so that kind of puts us in a really good position should the state get those federal dollars. I am really hoping we find out, soon. I had hoped we'd know that before the warrant was set, but it is what it is. So I'm hopeful. There was some concern about, I think there's concern in general about the town budget, and so they're very conservative. And if it didn't go forward being contingent on that grant, I don't think it would have made it through the Budget Recommendations Committee. So much like the styrofoam densifier, I have a fact sheet that I'm working on. The Energy Committee will be present to answer questions or show support for that article, but I would welcome others, especially in deliberative session, to speak your personal position on that. So, dollar amounts, I don't know if you want any of that, but it would be a 4-port system, so enabled to charge 4 vehicles, and we would have a 5-year maintenance contract with it, which is great, and also the ability to set the rate structure in a way that benefits the town. So if it's not getting enough use, we can drop the rate structure. If it's getting a ton of use, we want to recoup our money faster, we can increase the rate structure. So there's a lot of flexibility.
I wonder if you can set that up like Uber, like peak time, you can just ding them a little harder, and then sleepy overnights, or...
The variety of metrics you can modify to set up the charging structure is mind-boggling, because some of them do a flat rate, some of them do it's per kilowatt, or I don't know, it's per minute charged or something like that. Some of them do based on, I don't know. There's a whole host of different ways that you can set that up, and so I think
Interesting.
The world is our oyster on options there.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, good. I hope we learn. I mean, obviously, changes in the air from federal grants to the State House to everything else. So we'll see. I hope that works out. Any other questions on EV charging opportunities and warrants and all that?
Do we know how many people have electric cars in town?
We do. We have car registrations. We collect that, obviously, through the town clerk. And so when I identified the need, I'm not sure if I have this on the sheet of paper, but when I identified, this obviously would be in the presentation, the need for chargers, I based it on the number of Exeter registered vehicles, and then I think it's... There's a NREL, the National Renewable Energy Lab, puts out a metric to kind of, as an indicator of, if you have these registrations, this is what your demand would be. That's obviously conservative, because I only based it on Exeter residents alone, but based on that, I think it boiled down to something like 18 chargers, and if we expanded and included Stratum, because we're pretty close to Stratum, we still aren't there. So there's definite demand based on the models. We'll just have to see. A huge part of whether your EV chargers get used is cost and location. And I think downtown is a
Yeah.
perfect location for it, and the cost is up to us.
Yeah, and I'd certainly argue that, the numbers, some exponent magnitude of that it's people visiting town, much more than I mean, maybe including residents, but typically if you own an EV, you've got something at the house to charge yourself up. But I want to attract as many of those people to our downtown as possible. What a great way to kill an hour while you're charging your vehicle and walk around town. So it's great. Any other comments on?
Would the station be car maker agnostic?
Yeah, so.
Any EV?
So the, I can't remember the make and model of them. ChargePoint is the make, but the model has a different, like a flexible
Oh, okay.
attachment to
Nice.
it or something like that.
So it's not just Tesla.
So that it's
No, not
not
Tesla
just
charger.
Tesla.
Okay, good.
And I think, I should know this, but I think there's a Tesla charger and I think there's 2 other styles. And so it somehow accommodates all of those.
Awesome. Cool.
By attaching a converter to
Yeah.
the end.
It would also be an opportunity for people who don't necessarily live in a single home residence, run condos or apartments around, to have an EV vehicle then.
Right.
to be
Yeah.
able to-
Right.
Which would be nice, and considering all the, new building that's going on.
Absolutely.
There's got to be.
That's a great thing. That's a good point. That's a great point. Any other comments on EV before we move forward?
So, since I'm kind of new to the committee, what are active committee members allowed to say and not say at the deliberative session on the 1st?
I think there's no swearing.
Okay. But if you want to speak in support or not with a warrant article, is there a restriction on what we say?
No, I think as a citizen, you have the right
Okay.
to speak,
Okay,
first and foremost as a citizen.
right.
But I don't think it's not in bad form to reference your membership on the committee, as you're, as you're advocating for something, if you so choose. But you can always just speak as a citizen as well. So
And then,
the highest calling
yeah, for
in
sure.
the town.
And then I would add, I think and I've advised the Energy Committee of this as well, as you get closer to deliberative session, to have a vote. So in the February meeting, have a vote establishing your position on the warrant article. And then you have a vote on the record that you can reference in what you're speaking.
Fair enough. Makes sense. We sent a letter of recommendation to the select board on these topics.
That's right.
What I will do is I will go to deliberative session armed with those, letting people know that we did support that, and if we need to redraft that to support, now that should they both become warrant articles, we can redraft that.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if they're not on the warrant.
Okay. So we can commit it to ink then?
Yeah, I mean,
We'll prepare.
there have been twists and turns in the past, but this select board seems pretty respectful of what the Budget Recommendation Committee decided. So
Great.
there's been no indication that anyone wants to remove anything or add anything. We're pretty much steady as she goes with the BRC recommendation.
Good. No, I thought it was a good process this year.
Yeah.
For sure.
When is the deliberative session?
February 1st, the first day of February is a Saturday.
Okay.
Do I have that right?
I was just going to look it up. I think you do.
It's good to check my
Yes,
work.
February 1st.
Yeah, and it's at 9 o'clock.
9 o'clock, yep.
At the high school. Out on 27. As opposed to the old high school where we vote.
All right, I'm going to move on to Solid Waste Subcommittee. I mean, certainly some of the things we were involved in, we've covered in the Styrofoam drive event. As I said before, we'll, as a subcommittee, work to propose a schedule of dates for that. A couple different options to move forward in the current environment with nothing at the transfer station and continuing to work with DPW to start. So thinking about the current model. So we'll come back and have that discussion with you. And then the other thing is that chatting with Steve at DPW, we were just going to wait through the holidays, and now we're there to reach out to Waste Management. They've offered to provide us a tour, which we're super excited to go get a tour of their landfill and their processes up there, as we work to inform our recommendations to the town and the select board on solid waste contracting. So.
And Steve did call me today to ensure that I raised, kind of pick if the SAC or the members of SAC who are interested in that tour could nail down 5 or 6 dates.
Yes.
Then he could work to arrange those dates.
Okay. Very cool. Well, then maybe what a good next step would be, I'll put an email out to you team, and if you'd please not reply to all, I'll send that in my email as well. But I'll put some dates out there, and you guys can come back to us with your top 3s or whatever, and we'll get to Steve with a hot list of good dates. I'm kind of inclined to wait till early spring, to be honest. With the unpredictability of the weather, I don't want to get up there on February 7th or something and 2 feet of snow, and I think the opportunity might be better served after snow. I don't know. I used to hang out at the dump when I was a kid, but it's been a while since I've been to a proper landfill, so I don't know. Any thoughts on that? Do you think it matters, winter or not?
I mean, it's a good point, especially for the active site. It looks very different when it's not covered in snow, so.
Yeah, that's what I was sort of thinking.
That's a good point.
Yeah. So I might look towards, March, April, something like that. So.
And does that include recycling?
Yes.
Okay.
Cool.
Where is it?
Rochester.
Rochester, right? Yeah. You can find it on Google Earth pretty easily.
I'm sure I can.
I didn't check the last date stamp on the last picture I saw, but I will now that I think about it.
I know my kids, I live in Dover, and my kids' school has a field trip out to the site, and we all went out and parked the big bus. It was in the heat of the day, big bus on top of the active landfill, and the kids learned firsthand the impact and the impact of our waste. It was one of my favorite field trips.
That's so
because it was so tangible.
Yeah.
Who played Miss Frizzle? The not-so-magic school bus.
Yeah,
goes to
no.
the landfill.
That's awesome. Any other solid waste subcommittee questions for the solid waste subcommittee on that? Cool. All right, I'll get an email out to everybody for dates. So.
Before we leave the solid waste subcommittee discussion,
Yes.
I just wanted to share something. So, I do have a report. So Dover, it had a consultant review solid waste management for their town or for the city. And it includes an analysis of other similar sized towns, other processes, costs, and things of that nature. I would love to share that.
Yeah.
But more than that, the guy that I reached out to get some more information on is super eager and willing to talk about this. So I think if we could set up a Zoom link, he would come to a meeting to talk about the process that they went through to get a contractor and get the report. They've been working for the past several years on pulling this data together. I think tonight, actually, they're presenting to the city council a proposal that is status quo for 1 year, drops our version of blue bags the following year, and considers taking on solid waste management and recycling as a community themselves. So I just think it could offer some sort of examples for us to think about, and I'd be
Perfect.
happy to reach out and see his availability for
I love that.
next meeting.
That'd be
if you
great.
want. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
It's exciting that they're doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
How
huge.
I know they're bigger than us. How big is Dover? How many people? Come on.
I should know,
It's
but
probably-
I
It's probably
don't.
not that much bigger.
Not that much bigger.
And
Okay.
they're classified as a city.
Yeah.
We're a town.
23? I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, like,
Huh.
5 to 10,000 more.
Okay.
Or,
Not double, not, yeah, okay.
5 to 7,500 more.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. That'd be fantastic.
Is there any, I mean, I guess we'd find that out. Is there any city in the seacoast or in New Hampshire that does manage their own solid waste and recycling?
Yeah, so Dan has brought up Rye in past meetings.
They
I'm
don't do,
sure that-
Rye does not do
Oh.
curbside pickup.
No.
You have to bring all of your solid waste and recycling to their transfer station. And they are militant about getting it sorted correctly. If you goof up, you get yelled at. So they're very into sorting everything into what's recyclable and what's not, and the various categories of recycling. It's not just like, here's the recycling bin and you dump everything in. You've got to sort it all
Yeah.
very carefully. It's really an amazing operation. They don't have any solid waste landfill pickup costs. I imagine they have some landfill costs for the trash that.
Yeah, what do they
citizens
do
bring
with
there.
the actual trash?
Yeah, no, it probably goes to a landfill, but it's very much reduced by their efforts to sort what can be recycled. And I know they have revenue streams by their very fine-tuned sorting.
That was my observation at Guilford as well, is that it was immaculate, sorted by recycling type. The end bin was household trash, and they were, like you said, they were pretty militant about it, and they sorted themselves. So every and they had just a really nice, efficient little lane system to
Yep.
come up and do it, and there could be some learnings there.
Yeah, no, it's a huge expense. It's between 3 and 4% of our annual budget, what we pay waste management. And the fact that Dover, a city that's larger than this town, is considering going away from that kind of system, that should tell us everything we need to know about future efforts.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah, looking forward to both tours, seeing that video, having that discussion. That'd be, incredible. Yeah.
Google says Dover is 33,485 people.
33,000?
Yeah.
Okay. There you go.
Double then.
Yeah, so double our size.
Yeah.
Damn.
So if they can do it.
Yeah.
The dynamic is it's tough to take away a service from citizens, right? Curbside pickup and recycling is a service, but we're not doing the process justice. We're not sorting it in any way. It's not the right way to do this.
Well, and as we've discussed in the past too, I think a big part of the discussion needs to be doing the homework economically and just understanding the economics of it. And I don't believe that most residents really fully understand what that cost is to our town, both in the bags and the tipping fees and all that kind of stuff. It's enormous. And I'm not a betting guy, but I'm going to bet it's not going to ever go down, that it's probably going to go up. And it's got no cap, no end to it, right? And so as the town grows and unfortunately it's a product of the creators of all these great goods put the burden on us to handle all this stuff. Well, what a better way to handle it than getting control of the costs and the sorting and maybe develop some revenue streams and stuff as well. So, yeah. Terrific. We have the bullet on here, the Police and Fire Station Subcommittee. Want to see if you guys had any thoughts or updates you wanted to share.
Per the email that you sent on the 20th, I reached out to Dave today, and hopefully we're going to get something on the schedule.
Excellent.
That's the update as of right now. Checked in with Denise about our time availability, and we're hoping for some Friday, anytime.
Terrific.
Anytime that works for him. I said that in the email that starting with an hour or so to just give a general overview, have some general points of interest in terms of energy production on site, water reclamation on site, as well as any type of architectural lengths taken to reduce energy use. And if we get a general overview of the site and what the plans look like, then I think that's a good step forward to further educating this committee and eventually the public as well.
Fantastic. That's great. I'm excited because I like our subcommittee, and I like Dave, and he's such a pragmatic guy, and I think he's so on board with trying to wring as much out of that opportunity as possible. So I'm excited for it. So,
Yeah, really excited about it.
Cool.
And I meant to bring this up before, but I was reminded when I was putting the agenda together. The Energy Committee had a gentleman from Unitil, Joe Van Goombas, into their meeting. And basically what he does is work with municipalities to try to find, financial incentives or ways to improve the cost savings. And so I reshared, Dave was a part of that conversation, and I reshared his contact info because it was a while ago that we talked to him, but it might be a good time for you all to engage with him when you start meeting with Dave on this.
Mm-hmm.
So it should be a great point of contact.
That's super cool. Huh. That's great. I appreciate that. I look forward to hearing more next month, hopefully, and see how that conversation goes down. That's great. Any other questions on that subcommittee or anything that they're looking into?
If anyone has any particular interest that they're interested in the building process of this new building, more than willing to receive emails or specific questions and ask those pointed questions.
Terrific. Yeah. And Ryan's forgotten more than I'll ever even know about, these energy topics too, which is awesome. So just mine him for all sorts of good stuff.
It's going to be some great conversations, and I think that some of the things that have already been thought of will continue to blow my mind as well, which I'm really excited about, to be completely honest.
That's so cool. Great. Well, with that, we'll move on. We have election of a new chair as bullet number 8, or item number 8. I asked to have this put on because the good part of this is I've had a day job career change, which is exciting, and I think yesterday I started a brand new career step, which is great. Super excited to go to work for the only company in the bicycle industry that has a net zero factory making the company called Vittoria. It's a rubber tire company. They're the number one rubber tire company based out of Italy. They're doing amazing things, so I'll be doing their marketing direction and consumer direction, which I'm super excited for. What that will probably mean, though, is just given travel schedules and workload and things like that, I don't know that I could continue to commit to chair this committee. My term is actually up in April of this year, but I feel fortunate to have received a letter from the town asking if I would like to continue. I would like to continue on the committee, but I think it's probably best for the great momentum that we have going here to abdicate this opportunity here as the chair and pass the torch to the next eager person, because there's a huge body of talent here, which I'm super excited about, and someone else in this chair can lead us in a continuing strong direction. So while I'm bummed to do this because I've enjoyed this, I definitely feel way out of my depth, like I'm completely not prepared to even do what I've been doing here, but it's been a lot of fun. No, so I think what I'd like to do, if it's appropriate, Dan, is to have elections tonight, if that, or set it for next month, whatever you think is.
Who's currently the vice chair? Is it Chetna?
Chetna.
Yeah, and she's not willing to step up, correct?
I don't know.
She has served in the past.
She has in the past, yeah.
So I think what would be good is to maybe have some conversations offline. If you're interested, maybe contact Chris, any of the members, and then we'll have a sense of who's willing to step up.
Great.
Yeah, that's probably, so the next meeting,
Okay.
if you're willing to chair one more meeting.
Absolutely. Yeah.
At least get the meeting opened.
Yeah, for sure.
As chair, and then,
I'll have a loose gavel after that. I don't know. So, yeah. Okay.
and if anyone would like to talk to me more about that, my door's wide open to have conversations as well. But I would say indicate to Chris if you're interested in stepping up to be chair.
Great. That's a good way forward. Terrific. Yeah. So just send me a note, and we'll go from there, and then we'll look to have. But I'm going to demand like a big debate before we vote next. No, I'm kidding. So,
I think I twisted your arm pretty hard for you to become chair. You've just recovered.
I know my shoulder's just kind of getting back to normal. No,
I'm hoping that won't have to happen this time.
No, I'm sure there's going to be some eager folks here. No, it's been amazing, and I'm so thrilled with just how this is repopulated so well and really overflowing, and there's so much strong project work happening here and stuff like that. So I'm excited to reply to Pam and say yes, I'd like to continue on the committee. But yeah, look forward to hearing who wants to step in the chair. That'd be great. So we'll do that on next meeting's agenda. So.
Chris, congratulations on that new job.
Oh, thanks.
That sounds really cool opportunity. I know that you're super passionate about cycling as well, so this is an amazing opportunity for you.
Thanks. No, I appreciate that. No, it's always been we've always said for so long that the bike's one of those things that's going to save the planet, but behind the curtain, it's as ugly as any other industry, right? And we've got a lot of work to do to clean it up. So this opportunity came my way, and they're doing such amazing things. And maybe when it's appropriate, I'll come and give a presentation on just the awesome things that they're doing. They're making their own energy. They're at 1 kilometer away from their rubber source in Thailand, where they're making the natural rubber tires. They're making their tire casings out of cotton and recycled fish nets, and I mean, no kidding, amazing stuff. So yeah, super excited. So yeah, a lot of good work to do there.
That's
so
cool. Very cool.
Yeah, should be fun. So cool. Let's see. Item 9, other business. What else have we got to toss out there that didn't make the agenda? Any other things?
I do have one thing to share. So the Energy Committee met earlier today, and their next meeting, they're planning on doing kind of an annual plan of outreach events and what their programming is, and they had expressed an interest in continuing with the one-time-a-year joint meeting.
Great.
And so maybe that can be on the this board's agenda for the next meeting, with some thought as to when that makes sense to happen.
That's great. No, I think that's a fantastic idea. I appreciate them thinking of that. Again, that's fantastic.
Yeah, it was a good meeting.
Yeah, I think there's so much overlap as we talked about. So yeah, that's fantastic. Look forward to that. Okay, yeah, we'll make sure we put that on our next agenda. I have an item that I put on if no one else has any other business. I've was reminded of myself when I came in tonight, like I meant to do that last time. It's time to give our dog her medicine.
Was that the item?
That was the item. If you guys don't mind stopping by the house.
Okay.
No, I'd like to make a motion that this committee conduct all future business entirely digitally, that we don't produce any paper for any of these meetings, that I can see no reason, unless there's a document we need to sign, which we could even do on DocuSign or something like that, but I'd like to propose that we move forward 100% digital and banish paper from this meeting. Can I get a second on that motion? Nina seconds. All in favor of scuttling paper, banishing paper from this, and conducting this entire committee meeting every month digitally, say aye.
Aye.
All against, say nay. It is so moved. It is a 100% digital meeting, lest we need to sign some documents. So.
Can we still take notes on paper?
La la la.
I do normally.
Good. Are there any other topics? All All right, great. Well, it is 8 o'clock, 8:01, we'll call it. And can I get a motion to close our meeting?
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Great. All in favor of wrapping up the January 8th Sustainability Advisory Committee, say aye.
Aye.
Right? We're closed.
Thank you for tuning in to Exeter TV. Exeter TV is the town's public and government access channels, available on Comcast Channels 6 and 22. Channel 6 is your channel. If you have an idea for a program, want to host your own talk show, or submit a film, we're here to get your content on television. On Channel 22, we bring you live and replay coverage of government meetings and other town updates. A third channel, Blue Hawk Media, is operated by SAU 16 and can be found on Channel 8, with all your school sports, events, and meetings. You can watch Exeter TV online at exeternh.tv, Apple TV, and on Roku. Find us on social media for extra content. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell to get notified about live streams and new content. Tune in to our platforms every other Friday to watch the Exeter Biweekly Report, with recaps of recent events, updates from town departments, and messages from nonprofits in your area. If you head to our website, exeternh.tv, we invite you to sign up to our newsletter to receive monthly updates about new content, upcoming meetings, and more. We'd like to thank you for taking the time to watch Exeter TV and hope that you tune in to our other content as well.